need to give you the full picture because I think this story looks very different depending on which part of it you see first. My biological father left when I was 4 years old. Not a difficult divorce, not a custody dispute. He simply left. He moved to another state, started a new life, and was present in mine in the most minimal way possible for the first several years. A birthday card occasionally, a phone call on Christmas that sometimes came and sometimes didn't. By the time I was 10, those had stopped too. My mother married my stepfather, David, when I was 7. I was the flower girl at their wedding. I have a photograph of it somewhere. Me in a yellow dress, very serious, carrying a small basket. David is the man who raised me. He is the one who drove me to school every morning for 11 years. He sat through every school play, every sports event I was barely good enough to participate in, every award ceremony and graduation. He taught me to drive in a parking lot on a Saturday morning, very patiently, after I scraped the front bumper and started crying. He walked me through my first serious heartbreak at 17 by making pancakes and not saying much, just being there. When I got into my college of choice, he cried before I did. He is my father in every way that word means anything to me. My biological father reappeared 6 months before my wedding. He had heard through a distant mutual connection that I was getting married. He reached out through social media, a long message, carefully written, full of acknowledgement about the years he had been absent and genuine sounding regret about the choices he had made. He said he understood if I didn't want contact, but that he hoped, maybe, we could talk. I was not prepared for how complicated my feelings were. I responded. We had several phone calls. He was, I want to be careful here, not the monster I had built in my head over 27 years of absence. He was a flawed person who had made choices he seemed to genuinely regret. The conversations were difficult and strange, and occasionally moving. I am not sorry I had them, but I had known him for 6 months when my wedding arrived. 6 months of phone calls. I had known David for 24 years. When the question of who would walk me down the aisle came up, my mother assumed it would be David. David assumed it would be David. I had assumed it would be David for years, without ever really thinking about it consciously. It was simply true, the way certain things are simply true before you examine them. When my biological father and I began talking, he asked carefully whether there was any possibility of him being part of the wedding. He did not ask specifically about walking me down the aisle. He was careful not to ask that directly, but the implication was there. I told him I would think about it. I thought about it for 3 weeks. I talked to my therapist about it. I talked to my fiancé about it. I did not talk to my mother because I knew what she would say. In the end, I asked David to walk me down the aisle. Only David. My biological father was invited to the wedding as a guest. He attended. He sat in the 4th row. When David and I came down the aisle, I did not look at him because I could not look at him without losing my composure, and I needed to hold it together for that walk. After the ceremony, he found me and said he understood my decision and that seeing me happy was enough. He said it gracefully. I appreciated that. What I did not anticipate was the reaction from his side of the family. People I had never met or barely knew. Cousins and an aunt who had somehow formed opinions about this decision and felt entitled to express them. I received 2 messages that week telling me I had been cruel to a man who was trying to make things right. One message said I had let my stepfather replace someone who deserved a chance. I want to address that last one directly. David did not replace anyone. He showed up. He was present. He did the work for 24 years while someone else was not doing it. The honor of walking me down that aisle was not taken from my biological father. It was never his to begin with. It belonged to the man who had earned it. I do not regret my decision. But I have wondered in the weeks since whether I handled the conversation with my biological father as well as I could have. Whether I gave him enough clarity in advance so that the day was not a shock. Whether I owed him more directness earlier in the process. Those questions I sit with. The decision itself, I do not. Was I the asshole? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe. There's a new story every single week.